Chukwuma Ezeala, he's here. You've heard what the professor said. Professor Otunbanjo is saying that, look, it goes beyond the Constitution. And Markwa was saying that some have alluded to the fact that what we want is a brand new Constitution. Some will argue we need a reviewed Constitution. But from all of that, you try to look at what Professor Otunbanjo has said. What do you make out of all of this exercise in Asaba, Delta State?
You see, the issue of Constitution is a very important item in any nation. Number one, what type of constitution do we have? You know, I had argued earlier that we have a constitution that have a basic lie. The very first paragraph of the constitution is full of lies. He said, we the people having made this constitution, which is wrong.
Who made the constitution?
The military made a constitution and imposed it on us.
So they were Nigerians.
Yes, but not the people. You must distinguish between the people and either the president or the military. Now, when you look at history of constitutions all over the world, particularly in established democracies, people make inputs into the constitution. And why we are still going through this is because we have not made any constitution. And I can tell you, the National Assembly has embarked on review of the Constitution or amendment of the Constitution. When they finish, it will continue to resonate, it will continue to reverberate because we have not really started. I'll give you an example. We are talking about fiscal federalism. Will the National Assembly, knowing fully well that part of the beneficiaries of having a larger budget, you know, at the national level, decide to say, okay, let the federal government take 10% or take 20%. You know what it means? It affects their pockets. So why we say constitutional conference where people are elected just for the purposes of amendment of the constitution is they do not have any interest. They do their job, they go. And I will tell you, in your locality, you may not actually want the same person to go and negotiate your future. You know, or for instance, let me take an example. If you go to Anambra State now, and they want to elect people that will go to negotiate their continued existence in Nigeria, many of them would not vote for the people that are currently there. They may want Chukwuma to go. If it was when Ojukwu was around, they may want him to go. But these people will not normally go to the National Assembly to become senators or to become members of the House of Rep. If you go down to the north too, they may want people like Alhaji Maitama Sule to go there. And if you go to the west, they may also want more experienced politicians to be there. So what do you now make of it when you have people that you are just electing them to go and make laws according to the Constitution, according to the contraption we have as Constitution, but not for them to go and touch the basic rules of existence.
So we can trust them to make the laws for us, or we can't trust them to be able to examine and amend the very basic, the very base tenets of that particular law.
That is as a list.
Isn't that trust a little bit warped? Did we give them the extent of the trust that we have in them?
No, we already by voting them into the Senate or by voting them into the House of Representatives decided what we want them to do, and that is to make laws according to the Constitution.
Are you saying then that the senators and the members of the House of Reps have no powers to amend the Constitution?
Of course, they were not elected to amend the Constitution. That's what I mean is that to amend or to change the Constitution or to review the Constitution.
Are they acting outside their powers?
Not really, not really. The Constitution you have in place provided for its amendments by the National Assembly. That is okay. They can just continue to do that. What we're saying is, if we really want to be serious, they are not to. What we are calling for is a review. That is a new constitution. Proper review. Just like the other time, they made some amendments that bordered on Electoral Act. That was okay.
Well, we have been told by by some members of the National Assembly that they do not even have the powers to be able to write or review the constitution, as it were, produce a new constitution, and that can only be done by a constituent assembly.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I am saying that if it is to review the constitution or to give us a new constitution, which is actually what we want, what we want now is a review of the constitution and or having a new constitution. But that one they don't have powers to do.
Have you heard that the Prof who spoke earlier said that will be the ideal thing to do, but that is impossible to do?
Anyway, I wouldn't know how it is impossible. It's a political will. If we want to move forward, it's for the President and National Assembly to say, okay, we think there is the need to have a new constitution. Let me renegotiate, what we are really doing in Nigeria.
Mr. Ezeala, just allow me to go back to Professor Otumbanjo. He's still very much there in Abuja, and I'm quite sure he's listening. He's heard what you just said. What's the place of the executive arm and the legislature in all of this, Professor Otumbanjo, especially when we talk about deepening our democratic tenets in the country?
Well, I didn't get that. Can you please repeat it? Hello?
Okay, Prof. Yes, I was asking about how well can the executive arm and even the legislature help in having better governance for the people in terms of deepening our democracy.
Well, of course, they have to set the tempo. If you elect people, they have a responsibility to be models, to give leadership. And this is, of course, the kind of thing that I was saying between the federal and the state government. If you permit me, that the temper of the president, the temper of the National Assembly will determine the kind of thing that happens in the country. Now, if you look at our president today, he has obviously demonstrated a democratic temperament. That democratic temperament has been manifested in the attitude to what people are now claiming to be a very successful election in Edo State. If you contrast that to the temperament, I've just been listening to some reports about elections in Ogun State and the fact that they've won 19 local governments out of 20, and in spite of the low turnout, I had reports about the elections. So you have a responsibility. The president, the National Assembly have a responsibility to create the environment, which is what the president created. The president has so much enormous powers that if he had wanted the PDP to win in Edo State, he could do it. He deployed the troops, he deployed the commissioners of police, and also he could control, he could influence the INEC, but he did no such things. So that temperament is important. That's what we need, a temperament that will enable our people to see that we have in place people who are interested in governance. Governance must be about setting the right attitudes, sending the right messages, and of course, thinking of the people. It is not just about tinkering with constitution and all that. When you have people there, what do? I mean, the temperament of those who govern us is so much valuable than all the institutions in the world. I always try to contrast that between the love of a father and the resources of a father. It is not about physical infrastructure alone. A father may not have money, but have love. And the children will be fantastic compared to those who have money and do not have love in their homes. So it is the same thing with governance. If you have good people, like we have today, a president who is tolerant, our democratic institutions have never been so buoyant. Everybody abuses the president. Everybody writes about the president. The National Assembly is free. They are threatening to impeach him. And the civil societies are working. The media is awash with articles and abuses and cartoons. And this president takes all. And he even said in his media chat that he knows that he will be abused, but by 2013 things will start to change. So that is the kind of thing that we need. We need to cultivate that at all levels of government. A democratic temperament, that is committed. No, if you're a Democrat, you must expect abuse. If you're a Democrat, you must work for the people. It's not about flyovers and dual carriageways. It's about temperament. It's about thinking of the people and their interests.